Good afternoon. Thank you very much for a very good presentation, for a kind presentation. You know, my theme has a question at the end of it, and I would like to express my opinion, whether it is really a new era coming or not. If we speak about of data, we can speak about established sources, electronic basis of regulators. Of course, here we have IA's pharmacovigilance and such famous bases and Udra vigilance and FIRES, MedWatch. Each regulator now has electronic database in this or that way. We should speak about the VG base. It is a WHO electronic base, and of course publications in scientific literature. When we speak about the analysis, this data arouse no suspicion, no but we have also developing sources of data using AI and data science technologies, insurance claims, registers of pregnancies, registers of patients on nosologists and other systems. They are developing now quite rapidly. And now we can pass over to the real world data. I speak about the transition. I think that all pharmacovigilance data are more or less real world data. Because we all know that the Achilles heel of pharmacovigilance is collection of data from primary sources. If the primary source did not report about the adverse event, we cannot identify it in any way. And this problem, this is the problem of all countries. That's why pharmacovigilance data are collected actively, and they were happy to receive any data that you send. Of course, there are certain criteria. There are several of them. You identify the case, identify the patient, identify the drug, then these data are processed. So these are real-world data, in fact. For pharmaca survey, the real-world data are very much wanted, are very much welcomed, and I see here a huge prospects. In order to prove the safety of the drug for pharmaca survey, these aspects are very important. In order to prove efficacy, they can be considered only as additional. And here clinical trials are absolutely mandatory. But coming back to my topic, to pharmaca survey, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that we have new instruments on the governmental level. These are Sentinel in the United States, and SEP in Europe. Sentinel appeared in FDA in 2016. It was created to collect information from different data and to keep an eye on the safety of drugs. This database answers many questions, sees how patients take drugs, how they follow prescriptions, what is the level of compliance, off-label, or they have prescriptions. This is a very good additional source of data for pharmaca survey. The similar database exists in the European Union. It is in SEP. It has different principles. It looks more like a network. And this database receives the information from various CRO and regulators. So it has very many sources of getting information. It has been in existence since 2017. They're not mentioned very often, these bases, but these are the instruments that help receive pharmacosurvey data. So quite new sources are social networks. No, this is not a straightforward source. You know, it is very important for pharmacovigilance to get duplicates, so not to so that the case would not become a signal. Of course, it is possible to collect very high quality data with the help of these sources. But there is also the ethical or legal side, and there are very many issues here. And I think these aspects impede the development of these sources. You know, none of us would like to have an inbuilt chip. They would inform the databases about our health. So this is a very complex issue. The data of laboratories. Nail spoke very much about these problems. He gave a full list. Limitations. We know a lot about them. There are fewer limitations in pharmacovigilance for using but they exist.
When I
was preparing for my presentation, I came to remember about my thesis that I didn't defend. I collected certain material. I had 10 patients. I had very interesting material. And I came to the work with the statistic. We tried to find the efficacy. We took different parameters. It was a multi-factor analysis. And tried to see what differs one group from another. And of course, it was possible to show a scientific innovation, but in parallel, I was making clinical trials, international clinical trials, and I saw that mainly well-organized clinical trials very rarely show the efficacy of the drug. I failed to finish this job. I understood that that was kind of manipulation. All the other aspects have been mentioned by my colleagues. Therefore, in order to keep up with the time, I would like to finish my presentation with an example when the real-world data help make a decision on the drug safety. This is Taiwan. It's happened in Taiwan with the drug ketoconazole. There were doubts whether it should be prohibited or not. And when the pharmacosurvey data received in a standard way, were complemented by a large mass of data from insurance companies, it became clear that the drug was to be discontinued, was to be prohibited. And it was prohibited on the basis of the real-world data. So, completing my report, I would like to say that pharmacosurvey data are very, pharmacosurvey real-world data are very important, and pharmacosurvey itself may provide real-world data to the clinicists. Thank you.